Welcome back to another episode of Wonderwave, where big ideas make your splash. I'm your host, Athena, with our guest, Miss Cate. Hi, Miss Cate.
Hi, Athena. It's good to be here.
So, Miss Cate is my jiu-jitsu coach, and this is my jiu-jitsu gym. And she's been with me ever since I started, and I chose her to be here with us, so I hope you guys enjoy. So first, why did you decide to go to college?
Well, it's because college kind of sets you up for the rest of your life, right? So I know that I wanted a job where it was a lot more creative, more conceptual. I knew that if I was doing the same thing every day, I'd get a little bit bored. So I decided to go to college to kind of set myself up for the kind of careers that I would want.
Next, how did you choose which college you wanted to go to?
So choosing college is a little bit difficult. Honestly, the whole process is pretty overwhelming. I remember being really overwhelmed when I was younger, but I just kind of split everything into like little sections of things that I wanted. Like, right, we live in a suburb and we're close to New York City. So I knew that I wanted like a small town that's like really close to the city so that if I wanted to, I could just take like any of the train system or anything to go towards the city. And then I also knew that I we work one on one with each other. So I really like working one on one with my professors and vice versa. And I feel like you really get to like know and like learn more about the people that you're working with. And then I also kind of like wanted a Jesuit education because I wanted to be very like well rounded. Because it really depends on what you want out of your college experience. Some people want to go, right into the workforce, and other people like me, they want this time to kind of figure out who they are and what they really enjoy.
So it's like a whole kind of process a little bit?
Yeah, it's like taking like the little things that are important to you. Like, do you like a smaller like class environment or are you okay with big lectures? It's kind of just choosing what helps you in your learning process.
Um, what's something that surprised you about your college life?
Honestly, it's just how much time you have because like, you're in middle
Elementary
school,
school.
right?
Yeah.
So every single day is planned out for you, but
Yeah.
here we get to choose like our schedule and you get a lot of free time. Cuz part of college is like you're not just doing classes, you're also building a life for yourself. So you can fill it with different clubs that you like, but then there's a lot of time that sometimes like if you're tired, you can take a little nap. You get to spend time with friends. It's just like really important to just like be able to do a bunch of different things.
Um, what's your like favorite thing about being in a college student so far?
Honestly, I think it's the opportunities because this is like the one time in your life where you can really just sit down and learn because you're just given so many different opportunities and meeting so many new people. Like all of my different professors, they really want to aid you in that, learning process. And they actually like truly care about their students. And you're choosing what you're studying, so it's things that you actually care about. So that's one of the things I've like loved about it so far because I'm just opening myself up to a bunch of different experiences and new things. Like this summer, I'm working on the process because I'm in this club called Arupe, and it means that over winter break, I'm going to El Salvador and I'm gonna work with them on the intersectionality between like faith and like social justice, and like how we can use like our connection to one another to help the world around us.
So when you were on the professor part, like they're like shaping you kind of like if you're a piece of wood, like they would just like carve you a little bit kind of.
Kind of, but it's almost like they aid you to carve yourself. Like
Mhm.
it's less that they're forcing this change upon you, but if you have the agency to be part of that process. So like for example, like I've gotten really close with my professors by using your office hours. Like that's one of the best things you can do is using those office hours and getting to know your professors. And now some of these professors are like my best friends. I When I went away for the summer, I just have like a whole stack of books that I got from each of my professors to continue on with my readings.
So like they're all like they all care about you, and they're all like it doesn't matter about my student as long as I get the money, then I win kind of thing. It's not like
No.
that.
Well, it does depend on the school that you're in. And do I have professors that I didn't like? Yeah. But that's kind of life. There are people that you get along with and people that you don't. And it's just kind of taking the time to like really recognize and appreciate the people that are helping you and aiding you.
Next, I would like to know what life is like on campus. So, what is it like living in a dorm and being away from your family?
Living in a dorm is kind of an adjustment just because, you're in a small space with like a bunch of people. I ended up in, so it's a double room, but there were three people in it. So I was in this thing called a lofted triple. And that was kind of a struggle because I was spending like so much time with other people. So it's really important to like have time away and like, you know, be away from, for me, it was just getting out of the room, being involved in other things. Um, but honestly, like the communal bathroom, I didn't have too much of an issue as long as you have shower shoes. You really need those. And then being away from my family, I honestly am a lot closer to my family since going away. Because, when you're home with your family, you're seeing them every day. So you almost take for granted like how much you're seeing of them. But when you go away to college, you have to make like, the choice to reach out and talk to them. So honestly, I talk to my father so much, like almost every day I call him and we get to talk about the readings that I'm doing, what I'm getting up to, what's going on in each of our lives, learn more about what's happening with my family. And, you know, we're actually closer now that I've been away because we're both making the conscious effort to, be with one another and actually want to know what's happening in the other person's life.
So, if anything happens to you, like he's always gonna be there, it's like, "Hey, are you okay?" and everything, and you're gonna be like, and then it's gonna be like a good interaction because you guys don't see each other, and you guys also have a good like what's the word? Like you always have a good relationship with your father.
Yes, I because you appreciate more how much they really do for you because like when you're going to college, I mean it's not fully living on your own, but having to do your own laundry, having to get your own meals, like all these like little things, or like buying your own toiletries, all the little things kind of add up, and you really recognize how much your family is really doing for you, and then it hopefully makes you more appreciative of that.
Next, how did you make friends at college?
So that's a hard part. Honestly, I think the social aspect was like the hardest thing to adjust to. I think, but for me specifically um, to do well in that process, I kind of just got involved in different clubs of things that interested me, and then found like-minded people. So I got involved with radio because I love music. I'm a music collector. I love like records and CDs, and so I was part of our radio. And then I also got involved with like a lot of like climate justice organizations, and like a feminist club. And then I also got involved with um, like jujitsu. Like we do jujitsu together. So I am part of our martial arts club at school. And getting involved with being on the boards for those things really helps because you're finding people with a lot of similar interests to you. And also, one of the best things you can do is just being willing to put yourself out there. One of my best friends, we became close friends because I asked her if she wanted to work with me on a project for French. So if I didn't have the initiative to reach out to this person, I wouldn't have my best friend. So it's just kind of like being brave and being willing to put yourself out
And is your best friend one of your dorm mates?
there. Not this year, but we're planning to live together my junior year.
So you're saying that you could choose your dorm mates in your
Yeah.
junior year?
You can choose your dorm mates, like even freshman year. Like I chose one of my roommates for my freshman year because we met during orientation. But you can always like, choose whoever you want. It's just important to make sure you guys have similar lifestyles. That's something I found. Like one of my roommates, she's one of my closest friends, but we didn't live together very well because we just had different living styles. So that's something to be aware of.
Um, do you get to choose your own classes? Like when you are in your classes, like you can choose which ones you would like to do and which ones you don't want to do?
Yeah, well, that all depends on your major. So because I'm a liberal arts major, I'm an English and theology major. Like while there is a certain curriculum that I kind of have to follow, I'm allowed to choose like within that. But I know like if I'm going like pre-med, or I'm a bio or I'm a nursing major, they have a little bit more of a tight schedule. One of like the good things is like if you're involved in a lot of more like AP classes or test out of things, there's always room in your schedule to like just choose things based off of interest. Like one of my favorite classes was an elective class called Woman in Blues, and I learned so much about like the blues movement, especially like the the women that, were really part of it and, started it in a lot of ways. And that was just an elective, a random class I took, and ended up being one of like the best classes that I've taken.
Do you mind telling us what like a fun or silly tradition at your school?
Okay. Well, I go to Boston College, and we have this thing called Marmon, because the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
So mile 21 goes past our school because it's Heartbreak Hill. So everybody dresses up in crazy outfits, like bull wigs, like, really like weird. It's just like as outrageous as you can dress. And then we have like different musical artists that play too. So like we had, I'm not a big fan, but we had Saweetie. I don't know if you know her, but like we have like a lot of like, more up and coming people that play the festival.
Do you mind telling us a little bit, like your transition from high school to college?
Honestly, I didn't find the transition too hard. You mean like class-wise
Um,
or just in general?
like just in general, like when you're moving, like when you're a senior in high school and then you have to go to college later.
See, honestly, I think I found it like not too difficult just because I'd already been in like a lot of AP classes and I was used to, more hard classwork. But I found that in college, because I'm choosing the things that I'm studying, it makes me so much more passionate about it. So a lot of the times it didn't even feel like work. I was just doing things because I was enjoying them. So honestly, I found college a lot easier than high school too, because like I said before, we have so much time and it's just about like using that time efficiently and doing something that you care about.
With all the homework and studying, like how much sleep do you usually get?
That's a big thing. I do know a lot of people that don't prioritize their sleep, but that's like one of my non-negotiables. I get 8 to 10 hours every night because I wasn't always like that. When I was in high school, I was so focused on getting into college and stuff that I would pull all nighters and I would study so much. But then I realized like what's the most important thing here, and it's my health. So when I went to college, like that's like my hard stop. I will always choose, going to bed over like any assignment. But at the same time, as long as you know, I'm doing things as I should and I'm following like, a good schedule, that usually doesn't happen for me of needing to like stay awake to do something.
So do you have any like dorm mates who do stay awake like very long
Yeah,
hours?
like I some of my friends were doing like a lot of all-nighters and stuff, but for me it's like that's not how I learn. Like if I'm trying to like learn under pressure, I just found that that wasn't like my studying process and it works for some people. I think like it's really important to like, have good time management in college. That's like the most important thing.
If you mind me asking you, like, can you sleep through like any environment kind of? Because like my mom, she can sleep anywhere, on the
Anywhere?
floor, on the airplane. She can sit in she can sleep in a chair.
Well, I'm not exactly like that. I'm not too bad. I think it's kind of like I make things my environment. So I would go to bed a lot earlier than my roommates because I was working at a soup kitchen. So I would have to wake up really early in the morning. So I would just like wear an eye mask because sometimes they wouldn't turn off the lights until like later on. And or if they were being a little bit more noisy, I would wear noise canceling headphones. So it's just like little things like that that like made it a little bit more livable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So do you ever turn in your homework late, and why or why not?
Honestly, no. Just because they do give you ample time. And I mean, one really important thing is to just be honest with your professors. Like I was saying before, a lot of them want to help you. So, like, one time I had like two like big exams like back to back. So, all I did was I just talked to one of my professors and said, hey, is there a way I could have a little bit more time on this assignment? And she was super understanding because she understands what it's like to be a college student. A lot of them, they've been in the same shoes that we have. And it's just really important to, talk to them. But I found that I didn't really run into that problem just because with English, there's so much reading. So it was really important for me to have good time management. So something I would do, I definitely recommend getting like a planner and figuring out like, how long a thing's going to take me and how can I like separate this so it's less overwhelming. Like, so because I do English and theology, there's so much reading to it. So think about it. If I have 70 pages of reading, that seems like a lot. But if I split it up into 10 pages per day, it's not as overwhelming for me. that's what I would do. So then I would always be a week ahead of my reading and I wouldn't have to like be cramming for anything.
But did you bring a planner from home, or did you have to like buy one?
No, I think I brought mine from home. Um, yeah, because I would just like, you can use really any planner. And there's also online ones that work too.
Do you like? Did you ever have a part-time job in college? Like, what is it like to have one?
I didn't have a part-time job just because for my freshman year, getting my bearings and a lot of stuff. But in one of my classes called Pulse, it's a philosophy and theology class, and a third of my grade was community service. So I would do 12 hours a week of community service at this soup kitchen. So I would work like I would have to wake up really early, like 4:30 a.m. and I would have to like take a train and I would have to go all the way and like work and then I would have to come back and then I would have to go to classes. And honestly, it was difficult, but it was such a gratifying experience that it made it worth it. And I think like the most like I said, the most important part with like any part-time job or anything really is just like managing it correctly. So if I'm working in the morning, I don't want to go to bed super late the night before because then I'm just going to be miserable. So it's just you have to make sure that like okay, my assignments are all done so I can go to bed early so then I can wake up refreshed for the next day.
And if anybody isn't sure about like going to college, what advice would you give them?
I completely understand like college isn't for everyone. I will say that. Some people like my brother specifically, he it just doesn't really like school as much. And I just think that there's so many other routes too. Like obviously I'm a big proponent for college. I love learning. I think it's such an amazing experience. But there's also, trade. You can create your own business. There are a bunch of different facets. So it's sometimes a little, it's okay to not want to follow that path.
Um, like, what advice would you give to a kid who's nervous about college and starting on their first day of college? Like, what advice would you give them?
My first, so like the idea of being in college at all, or just like their first day?
Like their first day, if they're super nervous.
They're super nervous. Honestly, the best thing you can do is just kind of like, I know it's kind of a cliche, but being yourself. It's really important to just, you're gonna find the right people. Like, in all honesty, it's like, it's more about the person that you are. Like, everything will work out if are doing everything that you can. You're studying what you're supposed to be studying. You're, meeting new people, putting yourself out there. And as long as, you recognize your agency and all of like the privilege that you have to be in this learning environment, it makes it like a lot less overwhelming. But I would say like for a lot of 9-year olds, like this process is really overwhelming and it completely makes sense. So it's kind of like be okay with where you are at right now, you know? Like you're not at school yet. So focus on what you can do today that will help you eventually, right? Like doing well in school, finding out what it is you enjoy so you know what you want to study. Little things like that, as opposed to like thinking about that far off goal and overwhelming yourself.
Lastly, if your 9-year-old self could ask you like one question about college, like what do you think she would ask you?
I think she would ask like if I had it figured out. Because when I was 9, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like I know like that's kind of a vague question, but I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't know where I wanted to go. So I was just overwhelmed. I didn't even want to think about it. So I think like my 9-year-old self would ask like, did we figure out like what we want to study and like what we're doing? And like I'm happy to say that I think I have. Like I mean, obviously like right now I'm only, just finishing my freshman year and now about to start my sophomore year. So I still have a lot of a way to go, but it's just kind of, recognizing the point I'm at and how much I've grown from that point.
So it's like you have zero idea of what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, it was like you couldn't choose between like so many different things. Like, for example, like a police officer, or like a doctor, a
Yeah.
nurse. Like so many options.
What? Yeah, and honestly, like, and I was really into like when I was younger, I wanted to be an astrophysicist. I loved the space, or like I loved space, and I loved like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Cosmos. And then I learned about supernovas, and I got really scared, and I was like, okay, this is overwhelming. And even with math, like I loved math, and I hated English, and now I'm an English major. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you never really know where life's gonna take you, and it didn't take. It took me until like 8th grade to kind of figure out, okay, like this is what I like, because I just had one teacher that showed me like what it could be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you so much for staying here and like handling all these tough, like amazing questions. And I hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye bye.